Welcome to DC. 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 Welcome to DC.
Welcome to In the Lab live show. We are back on this Friday in the building. C. Henry, Lady E. Mayo, what is good? How has this week been so far for you all?
We made it, man.
It's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday.
Yes, sir. What's going on with you, Mayo?
Friday. That's what it's all about. What's up, fam? Hi, everybody. Made it through. I gotta take a deep breath and exhale.
Yeah, man. The week was it seemed like the week was kind of long, man. But especially with Hurricane Ian down there and making a mess. Anybody down there, especially coupled. I know the Fort Myers area got hit real bad. Send out prayers down there. Keep them on your thoughts. Hopefully everybody able to recover. I know they say like over 1 million people without power. So I know it could be tough, man. So,
man, it's crazy. I saw somebody, and I don't know if it was real or not, man. I saw somebody, their house had flooded, man, and they came downstairs, and there was an alligator in the living room, man. I said, oh man, I'm gonna have to stay up here in Michigan just and complain about my snow, man. I'm chill here for a minute, man.
I said the same thing. I said people want to, don't get me wrong. I love me a beautiful beach view and being able to get to the beach, but that is one reason why I always told people when they said, why don't you move to Houston? I said they flood when it rains and they get hurricanes. So that's not me. I would take a tornado any day.
Jeez, just to have those choices is scary. All right, man. We got a packed show. We're gonna talk about some NFL. We're gonna talk about Thursday night football. We're gonna talk about the Dolphins, Teddy B a little bit. We're gonna talk about some college football, some fantasy. We got Kold Krush DMiddy in the building. They FSU fans, so we're gonna talk about them and their possible. Yeah, man. And they for real game. I think against this game against Wake Forest, man, we're gonna see exactly where they at. But let's get into it, man. Let's go. Let's get this show started.
This is Hog Farmer Chris from the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation. And before you start listening to Red Zone in the Lab, check out our Amazon Smile, a simple way to support the Hog Farmers Charitable Foundation every time you shop, and it's no cost to you.
Red Zone DC presents Enters the Lab Live Show, mixing fantasy football, college football, and everything NFL with your hosts, Lady E, Mayo, Slim, C. Henry, and Deuce. We do this because we love it, not because it loves us.
Don't worry about the horse being blind, just load the wagon. Then let's go.
And then the minute it's over, you got to pull the pants up. You always block, and then you pull up your pants.
You know the great thing about being a football player is you don't have to take a shower to go to work.
Feels like the second time in my life that I'm being carried off the shoulders of others. This has been the sweetest ride of them all. Thank you.
Hey, what's going on, fam? Hey, just some quick things. Last night was really troubling to me. I was watching that game last night with Cincinnati and Miami, and I watched that injury to Tua last night. That was something that just should not have happened. I mean, I'm trying to figure out why was he on the field last night after taking a shot to his head, even though it was quoted that he had a back injury. But if you watch him in the video from when he hit his head in the game on Sunday, You saw that it was disturbing that he got up, he shook his head, he walked, he wobbled, and he fell to his knees. And in the protocol for percussions is a thing called gross motor instability. And he showed every bit of that, being able that he just didn't have any control. So why 4 or 5 days later he's in a game again playing, and why was he not still in, and was he not placed in some type of protocol? That's disturbing. And then to see him take a hit to his head at the exact same spot where he hadn't recovered from Sunday, that's just unbelievable. I don't know who dropped the ball. I mean, this should never have happened. And we got to figure out, but the NFL got to figure out a better plan than that, man. That's ridiculous to sit there and watch that man motionless on the field because of something that happened a few days ago for no reason for him to be on the field. Come on, NFL. Y'all got to do better. Somebody need to be fired. Somebody need to be suspended. Something need to happen after this.
Yeah, man. It was scary, right? And, you know, I was really impressed with Thursday night with Amazon Prime. But yesterday, the showing of that video and his muscles and cramping and different things like that, man. I think things like that, you just have to you just got to use humanity, man. You know, you can't just keep showing stuff like that. I mean, it affects people, man.
It was a complete failure across the board. I mean, Amazon for continue to broadcast and show him laying on the field like he was. I thought it was something with the league, any of the leagues. It was something like a gross injury like that they don't show it. They stop showing it. They don't make any observations of what possibility was going on with the player, things of that nature. They stopped showing it immediately. They don't replay it. They kept replaying it. They kept showing it. Kept showing him on the field. You know, instead of just going to a long commercial break, come back, have Troy and Joe Buck and up top just talking, whatever it was. I think it was Troy and Joe Buck, but whatever, just not show that, man. And then think of the kids that sit here and watch that. Think about the parents that sitting here having a problem with their kids playing football, and then they sit there and see something like that happen. It's just NFL just totally failed across the board on this. The two doctors who cleared Tua on Sunday and said it wasn't even a head injury, wasn't a concussion, said it was a back injury. He can go back out and play. Tua should not have been on that field, man. He should not have been on that field.
Yeah, Henry, when you see that and you see doctors clearing him, I mean, these professionals, they went to school. It was an independent doctor that cleared him also. It wasn't just people from the Dolphins. And then he goes to the University of Cincinnati, I believe. I'm not the university, the hospital in Cincinnati.
University of Cincinnati.
That's what it's called? Okay, yeah. And he goes there. The doctor's there clearing within like 2 hours that he can leave and go fly and different things like that. What was your how can we as fans, right, that don't have the background, right, don't have any of that, look at that and see from what we saw and then get this report and say this just doesn't make common sense? Like, what type of line is there that we have to be careful not to like overstep? I mean, what's your you know what I'm trying to say is really a difficult situation, because when you say like this is the person that's overseeing my health and they have all the qualifications, and then they saying you can do this, but looking at it is like I shouldn't be able to do this. What was your initial take?
You know what? I think it's a couple of different, things that you can look at in this situation. When you look at what happened last week, to me, and I'm not a doctor, none of us here are doctors, but just what we've seen in the past, it just looked very consistent with some type of head injury last week. All the folks I know, when they say they back hurt, they be stuck. They can't move. Mm-hmm. Two of them got up, he done stumbled around, fell back down, got up again. So to me, that's not really consistent with what I know of folks who deal with back injuries. It definitely like it was a head injury. And then coming into this week, I felt that he was, susceptible to injury because I thought it was a head injury. And I felt like, 3 or 4 days coming back against a tough team, he's probably one hit away, But in terms of the doctors and things, it's a slippery slope because are we dealing with folks who are really dealing with, who are really, really being, dealing with real integrity here. They are paid officials, I'm saying, by the league and by, sometimes by the teams. That was a big game last week. That was a big money-making game last week. A lot of eyes were on that game. Miami wanted to make a statement. So maybe, I don't know if it was a wink. Hey, he says it's his back. We're not even going to look at his head. I don't know how that goes. But to me, it felt like he should have been through. He went through the concussion protocol. He probably should have not been in that game, not come back in that game last week, and probably shouldn't have been in this game this week.
Yeah, man, I agree, man. We got my man Cash in the building. What's up with you? We got South. South is in the building, man. South says Tua needs 15% ownership of Miami, and I know we gonna save Lady E because she has the last thought, and I'm quite sure this is gonna be part of it. So we're gonna save Lady E comments for the rest. But on the football side of things, when we think about the Dolphins, we think about the Dolphins. Think about, were they actually still in that game? Were they actually still in the game? Maybe, maybe not. Tua did throw a pick. He did severely underthrow it, and that's been his tick. But then Teddy Bridgewater, he came in, he looked okay. He's a backup quarterback guy now. He looked all right. He threw that crucial interception, but I don't even know if that was an interception or not, but that's neither here nor there. But so, how y'all feel about the Dolphins moving forward? We can start with E and Teddy Bridgewater. Do you think that he can, get the ball, push the ball downfield? That's basically what they need. Do you think Tua can win him a few games if Tua is able to come back?
I'll say this. Last night, kind of watching that, Teddy made some okay throws. I think it was legit, probably the pressure and, kind of being thrust into that situation. I don't think any backup quarterback want to be thrust into that type of situation, especially after injury. And to me, honestly, for them to even continue the game like that, So, I believe that they can. Again, I will say this. Teddy did a nice job with the Saints when he took over for Drew Brees. He kept them 5-0 when he was with them. So I believe that he can possibly do it again with this team, with the Dolphins. It just pretty much, again, that's going to be a lingering thought in the backside of his head moving forward. But I believe that he can because they were making progress last night. Don't get me wrong. I think just the Bengals being home, having out, a whiteout. Shout out to them uniforms, though. I'm not gonna lie, them uniforms was fire last night. But
the end zone was fire.
Like the whole thing was fire. Yeah. But having that type of, just energy, momentum going into that, I didn't really even give it to the Dolphins, to be honest with you, to actually pull that one out. But so again, we have to see. Looking forward, I don't think Miami is a barbecue without Tua. I don't think that. I just think that, now that it's going to have to be, plays made specifically for Teddy to get the ball downfield. It's going to have to be. They don't have Tua anymore, so they're going to have to really look at their playbook moving forward to see how long he's possibly going to be out. Now, if they keep him out for like a week or two, we got some issues. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I guess we're going to hear more about that later. What you think, Mel? My man South say Miami's barbecue.
Yeah, I agree 1,000% with South. They are cooked. Teddy Bridgewater is just an older version of Tua with a weak arm that can't push the ball downfield. You saw him making some of his throws. It just wasn't there. I know some of the continuity just for him timing and things got worked out, but his arm string ain't that much more different, if not worse, to be honest. Teddy ain't that guy. Teddy ain't that guy. Maybe 2-3 years ago in admiration, that he did do what he did for New Orleans, but I don't see it. I think literally Miami is done right now. I think they're done.
What you think, Henry?
Look, I'm not even with help plays.
I'm going ride with Teddy B, man. Teddy B is a professional quarterback. He's a professional backup. He's been in the league a long time. He knows how to do this, man. He came right in there, man. I don't really think they missed a beat. When you look at the two deep passes that were thrown, You saw one that was underthrown and got picked off by Tua, and you saw Teddy come in there. And I mean, I'm not gonna say it was on the money, but Tyreek didn't have to hold up that much. He had to hold up just one quick second, give my man a quick little chicken wing real quick when he was right there. Got the chicken wing out there and caught the ball. You know what I'm saying? Chicken wing got the ball. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's going to be okay. And I like the team around him. He's got weapons. That run game is going to always be a question for Miami, but he's got a decent defense. I think Teddy B going to do all right, man. I mean, I didn't think they were going to be world beaters anyway. I think that Cincinnati game, if Tua was even going to play in that game, was going to be a tough game for them on the road. Mm-hmm. But I still think that they're going to be a threat for the playoffs. They still like their 10-11 win team.
Yeah, I think the thing that may come to fruition for some people that don't think Tua can actually push the ball down the field is that if Teddy B can come in and just like you said, his deep ball look a little better. And that's just having those few reps in the regular season game. Mm-hmm. But if he continues to get in this game, Teddy B can push the ball down the field. And if it's a big difference, I think even if he does come back in a few weeks or next year, they might have the serious decision to make.
Listen, man, Teddy B known for walking in rooms and making folks have to make some decisions, man. That's what he do, man. He gonna make it tight for somebody. But what's crazy is I saw something, and I was just driving, and it came across my phone. But it says, McDaniel says that Teddy B will be ready to go if Tua can't go. So it's not like they've ruled him out next week as of yet. So
that
it might be a short, abbreviated little stint on the bench, or he may not even see a week on the bench. Who knows?
Yeah, man, that's. Well, let's move on.
Let me ask you this though before we move on. Yeah, how much of this do you put on Tua himself?
He get 50% of the blame too, because you should know your body, bro.
Yeah, he gets blame. Tua's he's in a situation. He's being pressured. He's pressured. He knows what's going on around him. He knows he has to perform, and he's going to fight through every opportunity, to get out there. So he could have been part of that, saying he was okay. It's just his back. I mean, I don't know, but he takes blame in it as well. But just the fact that the people who have the authority to actually tell him, nah, man,
take his helmet,
sit down. That should have happened. That should have happened. As much as he want to get out, that's just not his fault. It's football. He took a tough hit Sunday, and he just shouldn't have been out there, and they shouldn't have allowed him to go out there. But he's pressured to get out there, so he could afford on his end to get out there too. So
yeah, because that the organization that he's playing with, that's so behind him right now. Just 6 months ago, they was trying to get Tom Brady in there and anybody else in there, Deshaun Watson. So maybe it's some self-imposed pressure he's putting on himself.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, with you.
And if you think about it, you think about like Ryan Clark. He has sickle cell, and it's tough for him to play in Denver, right? And Coach Tomlin was like, he was cleared medically and everything. Well, Tom was like, nah, I'm not taking that chance. You're not even getting on the plane. Sometimes as the head coach, you got to step in and be like, no, we can't do this. He's not going to play. Coach's decision, regardless of the medicals. And if you see
just an elder statesman, like, young man, you may hurt.
But that's the thing about having young coaches too, though, right? You kind of look at them as peers, and sometimes you got to find a way to separate yourself, because when you see somebody get up, stumbling and fall, you see the O-lineman grab them like, just stop moving. You can see them like, just chill, just wait, just what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you just got to make those, man. But let's talk about some college football. The first game, let's go with let's see what we're gonna do. Let's go Michigan, Iowa. Henry, what are we looking for in that game?
Man, big game. Up here in the Big Ten country, man. Michigan coming in ranked 4th against Iowa, a strong team, traditionally, very, very fundamentally sound. They're coming in 3-1. A very, very strong defensive team, man. This team is coming in here giving up 244 yards per game overall. That's rushing and passing combined. Only giving up 5.8 points per game. So it's going to be a very, very strong defensive team from Iowa. They're a little offensively challenged, though, only averaging 17 points. Even with a couple cupcakes on the schedule, they only averaging 17 points, man, a game, man. So hopefully, man, Michigan will be able to pull away in this game. This is a road game. This will be the first time Michigan will be playing a road game this year. in the Big Ten Conference against a tough opponent. So it's definitely going to be a tough game, but I think Michigan's going to pull away in the second half.
Yeah, I think Michigan's going to be able to score. The issue is going to be if Iowa can actually score.
And it might be a little bit of a rival. It's not a rivalry game, but let's say a get-back game because, we smashed Iowa in that Big Ten championship last year. Smashed them. So, they might want some get-back.
Get back.
All right, man. Let's go to Clemson. I guess we can talk about Clemson a little bit.
We ain't gonna talk about Clemson all like that now. Come on now. Again, with this game, NC State is coming on to Death Valley. So before, back in the day, everybody know it's hard to play in Death Valley. It's hard to win in Death Valley. But this one right now, I don't know. NC State has been playing very close. They've been coming out of late game wins against them. They're averaging 36 points per game. And, points allowed is 11.8. Clemson is allowing 21.8. So this is going to be one of those games that is going to be pretty much close. They're both averaging the total, same yards and passing 253 to 275. So, again, this is going to be one of them games that it's going to be all eyes on. This is, Clemson is ranked number 5, NC State number 10. So, this gonna be a real good battle in Death Valley on Saturday. So check that game out. It's at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 for y'all folk in Central Standard. But I am gonna have my eye on that one, even though my team, is gonna be playing. We got a cupcake, so I'm gonna be flipping back and forth. But this is gonna be one of them real good ones that I say. I'm not gonna call it a game of the year though, but it's October. Let's just say this. It's October. So
I'm very eager to see it because I haven't even laid eyes on North Carolina State this year. So I mean,
be honest with you, they've been squeaking past quietly because even the games that I did see, it was like close. They were close games. So I mean, at this point, coming on here playing with Clemson, who's still trying to figure, their quarterback is still trying to figure out exactly who he is. Let's be real. This one is going to be one of them games that should have been circled and probably circled. I'm surprised. I don't think College Game Day is going to be out there, but this is that one where they should have because this is going to be one of them ones. Night game too, so it got that energy.
I think it's going to be a good one. We're going to come back. We about to go to commercial. We're going to talk about Alabama, Arkansas, and FSU and Wake Forest. And DMiddy and Kold Krush, we're going to have y'all come up. We're going to talk about Alabama first. And then we're going to get to FSU. We're going to have y'all come up to talk about both games. Let's pay some bills.
There's a lot of bad stigma about shopping for a used car. Well, come visit us at iCargo Motors. We'll take care of you. We'll ensure that your experience is not only seamless and efficient, but also satisfying. Because at iCargo Motors, we believe that the best form of currency is integrity.
Welcome back to Enters the Lab Live Show with Lady E, Mayo, Slim, C. Henry, and Deuce.
Cole, what's going on, bro? DMiddy, what's going on, y'all? Y'all good?
Feeling good, feeling great. How about you, man?
Good.
I muted up. What's up?
What's up, Cole? You there? No, you couldn't hear you.
That's a hard-working man over there.
Yeah, I can't hear you. You gotta get your audio straight, Cole. But look, man, let's talk about Arkansas, Alabama, man. Where we at with Arkansas, Alabama, Henry? Is this gonna be one of those like Lady E was talking about the Clemson game of the year? Is this game gonna be in that conversation?
Man, probably not, man. Alabama seems to be kind of gaining some steam. And, I was feeling Arkansas, man, until last week, man. This is, now we into these conference games, man. So the cream is going to definitely, rise to the top, man. And they took an L last week. I'll be surprised if they can keep this game close, man. I think this is going to be a double-digit win for Alabama, them to kind of get the ball rolling in the SEC, kind of get that train and that momentum going. So, I look for a decent game, a decent effort from Arkansas in the first half, but I think Alabama's going to pull away, probably win this by about 2 touchdowns or more, man.
Is Alabama going to be resting its stars, Mayo, in the fourth quarter? Oh, all y'all audio.
Nah, I'm gonna say, well, my audio working. I'm gonna say no.
Thank you, E. Because I'm gonna say no. I agree. Alabama ain't showed me that they that old Alabama yet. So, and we like 3-4 games into the season, and then they still right now for Alabama they way mid right now. So I agree with E. Just said
way mid.
They Bama right now.
What you think, DMiddy?
Hey man, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I like Arkansas. I like their quarterback, and I think Alabama has some opportunistic corners. And if the Arkansas quarterback can, get that ball over the top of them DBs, I mean, Arkansas have a chance. And I feel like you look at this matchup and you want to say Alabama is going to go up 2 touchdowns and win this game, but you have an Arkansas team that showed me these last couple of weeks that they have a lot of fighting, and you never know. But I mean, the winner, I got Alabama, but I think Arkansas going to give them a run for their money.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think it's no trap game. I think Alabama going to beat them. It might be kind of hyped the first quarter, but when things start simmering, I think Alabama going to pull away.
You can probably make your chicken run at halftime and don't miss a thing. You just come on back, don't miss a thing.
You good, Kold? Oh no, not yet. All right, so let's talk about FSU a little bit. Did he
Kold to drop out and come back in? That's probably what he got to do.
Yeah,
drop out, come back in. Yeah.
See, he got all that platinum equipment over there, and he don't know how to use it.
Don't know how to use it.
I'm the same way.
All right, so let's talk about Florida State. Middy, take us back a decade. Take us back a decade. Let's take us back when FSU was. Should I say relevant? Is that a dig?
Yeah,
if I say
most
relevant,
definitely, man. Most definitely, man.
Take us back there.
You had to come through Doak Campbell to be able to, to win the ACC, man. And teams like Miami and Florida, they wanted to see us at the end of the year when we seen them, and they wanted that win over us to be able to get that notoriety in college football. We had quarterbacks like Chris Winkie, Christian Ponder. They weren't great NFL quarterbacks, but they were relevant in college football. You having Chris Winkie winning a Heisman at almost 30 years old. Christian Ponder, one-legged out there, taking us to victories, man. And I feel like once Bobby started getting much older and he started giving up the reins to his defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator, like when Mickey Andrews was there, like really controlling the team, and then bringing in Jimbo Fisher, man, like I really thought that, their offense was really like high octane when we had Jimbo and he had Jameis and EJ Manuel and them guys, man. And we were formidable for a while, but then they brought in Willie Taggart, and that really changed everything. I don't think he was the right coach for that particular team, because when you look at Florida State, you have to recruit. Like recruiting is that's where you started in college football. We all know that, but Willie Taggart was proven to not be a great recruiter. And when you move on from him and you bring in Mike Norvell, who's a former player, younger guy, high energy, he's brought a totally different dynamic to this team. And I love his energy, man. And I feel like if he can continue building on the energy that he has and being able to use the transfer portal like he has over the past couple of years, oh man, I think it's gonna be Florida State again, being Free Shoes University relevant once again, man.
Henry, like when I started seeing Bobby Bowden going and practice on the golf cart, I think that's around the time when I was like, you know what's going to be next for Florida State? Like it's just Bobby Bowden. Like everything was Bobby Bowden about Florida State. Like you had confidence that they were going to be competitive. You had confidence that they're going to be in the conversation at the end of the year. But then once he got in the golf cart, it was like, things are starting. like what's going to be next for Florida State? And the transition of it seemed okay at first, but then it was like it didn't seem like they had a good plan moving forward. And then all of a sudden Florida State just like fell off the map. And that's something like college buffs. I don't call myself a college football buff, but you all, I look to you all for that. But to me, it was like a big gap in college football when Florida State is not relevant.
I think what DMiddy said was really key. You got to be able to recruit. You in Florida, you're in a very fertile recruiting area, but unfortunately, you got some great programs around you. You got Florida up the street, you got Miami up the street, you got Alabama and Auburn, and them, saying right across the state line. So the problem was, and I was rooting for Willie, man. I wanted Willie, to have some success. But after Jimbo, I really feel like they didn't have a big name to bring in, and they didn't have kind of a succession plan. So once Jimbo kind of left and said, "Hey, I'm going to Texas A&M," it was just like, everything was kind of thrown up in the air. We tried to, throw it to Willie, give him a shot at it. It didn't quite work out. Now the new coach, I'm not as familiar with him, but I'm eager to see what they do this weekend because, like you guys said, man, this is going to be the for real litmus test game for them to see kind of where they are. I was really impressed with Wake Forest and what they did last week with Clemson. And I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I'm picking Wake Forest in this game because Florida State ain't, they gotta prove it to me. They gotta show it to me again. Gotta show the magic. Gotta see a Peter Warwick or somebody out there. Gotta see somebody special, Warwick Dunn out there. Somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, they got a couple of them. They got a couple of them, man. But they might not be as talented. But I like Johnny Wilson. They got him from Arizona State, and they got this guy Ontario Wilson, excuse me. And they do a pretty good job of giving their quarterbacks some range to throw to when they're back in the pocket, man. And that shows with Jordan Travis, man. He started off, I believe, 2 games at 100% completion, over 10 passes. Like he started off the Louisville game, I think he was like 11 for 11 or something like that. And he started off the Boston College game the same way. So they have the receiver. They're not Peter Warwick-esque. I won't say that. They more so Anquan Bolden-esque.
We got some Kelvin Benjamin in this.
Yeah, because Johnny Wilson.
I don't know what that is. Mayo. Let's see.
Try that again.
There we go.
Yeah, I think they I think as long as they they can become relevant again, it does make college football, great. I mean, just the state of Florida. I mean, it was years the state of Florida was just going Florida State, Florida, just bouncing back and forth Miami. And literally all of them fell off the face of the earth at the same time. And it actually made it pretty rough, and made it more competitive for the teams up in the up there in Michigan. The Big Ten schools started now being more relevant, but I think it's still way more relevant when you had them Florida teams back in the mix. So and for me, it's just recruiting, man. C. Henry hit it, man. They gotta, they lost a hand in the recruiting processes down there in Florida. So in the schools, all around. I mean, they're losing, like you said, that's fertile ground, man. Florida, when I think high school football, I think of Florida, I think of Texas. And probably California, and then everybody else. That got a bad echo. Everybody else is like they come bringing it up from the rear. You can pick anywhere else, but I think those are the 3 biggest states for high school football. So Florida, they missing out when they can't keep guys in school down there. So hopefully they back, man. I'm wishing for them to be back. I'm not a Florida State fan, but I'm wishing for them. I'm not a Florida fan. I'm wishing for them. Miami the same way. I'm hoping they are, they're back. I'm hoping they are back.
Absolutely. And this game gonna prove it, man, because Wake Forest ain't no slouch. I will say that. But I feel like our defense is so much better than theirs. Their offense is.
Hold on a second. Kold. How important is the rivalry between Florida, Florida State, Miami. How important is it to NCAA that all three of those teams are relevant?
I mean, I think it changes the recruitment class and, moving forward for all three programs. You know, it's just, NC football is just not the same when those teams are not competitive. So it changed the whole landscape of everything when they're not competing. And each one of those schools want to be the best school in the state of Florida. So it changes the whole landscape of the recruitment, where kids are going to play, and just what other schools are doing across the nation when they're not competitive.
Yeah, man, I think it's very important for those guys to be competitive. If you think about those three teams and what it can do, because it seems like when those teams kind of like fell off, it was like the Alabamas and the Clemsons just came up and they just like took. So it's like, man, what happened? And when you look back, it's all about coaching. It's all about succession plans. Like you all said, it's all about a recruiting plan, because it needs to be some type of recruiting plan, because you just can't come in and be a top recruiter, right? You have to be taught how the process work. You have to be taught. It seemed like it's a nuance in recruiting. Like, can any of you kind of talk to that? Like, what does that entail? It's just not about setting a meeting, going to somebody's house and say, hey, look, I want you to come play for this team.
Because look at what Dabo did in Clemson. Like you said, when Florida State or even in the ACC, when you have a team like North Carolina and Duke that don't really do much, but you right there in Clemson, and you can take from their backyard in North Carolina, you can recruit up and down the Mason-Dixon line. Dabo Swinney knew what he was doing when he seen that he had this whole Mid-Atlantic to himself, and you have to be that kind of coach to not only just recruit, but like you said, you have to be able to coach on the field as well. And I think Dabo proved that, because he has coaches that has moved on to other programs and have not become head coaches, but become coordinators at a higher prominent school as well. So he's done a great job with that. And look at just the quarterback position, kind of like Pittsburgh. He had two prolific quarterbacks for like 3 if you tie in Taj Boyd at Clemson. And he knew what to do. Have you a big name quarterback that does it on the field, and he's like the president. He speaks well and what have you. And then also you coaching up your coaches and your players, and that's really, it makes a difference. But like Nick Saban, he's bringing in NFL guys. Once they leave the NFL, he's bringing in them guys to be coordinators. And like even in college, he had Steve Sarkisian. Now Steve Sarkisian's at Texas. And you have to be able to coach up all around, recruiting, your coaches, and the players.
I'll be honest with you. I think it is a little bit more to it, because it's just
your video off.
It's off again.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, can y'all see me now?
Mm-mm.
See, here we go.
Unless you got darker.
Look, it look like I ain't get that look. I know I'm a good chocolate, but come on now.
But go ahead, get your point right.
I'm gonna get a point card and I'm gonna drop and come back. So basically, in all essence, it's all about building that relationship. That's the top key. Is you have to build that relationship. You have to be a relationship builder. That's the first thing that has to do. You can bring in all these NFL guys. You can do all of this. You can show them how many national championships that you won and different things like that. If you don't have a connection with these kids, I promise you, just like my son can sit over here and flip from game to game to game, these kids are going to flip from school to school to school. Just like that, because that relationship is not there. So just speaking on Nick Saban builds those relationships with the parents, with the kids, with the uncles, with the grandparents. He comes and eats. He brings them to their house. That's how you keep those kids in line. An NFL player is not going to keep them in line, but that kid is going to stay to that coach. That's why sometimes it's not even the head coach. It's always the assistants or the position coach. Sometimes not even their position coach. We have our running back coach at Georgia that be sitting over here making connection with the cornerbacks, because he's just that personable of a guy. So that's just how it is. When you have those type of people, those are who you need to be sending on the road, your headhunters, the ones that are going to build those relationships. Because again, at the end of the day, these kids going to flip. As we've seen, how many times we've seen the kid decommit? What happened over there with the dude Hunter? Then he did decommit from FSU and went over there. It just shows you right there, when you have something new and something brand new coming, you can get somebody just like that to switch from a top name school, as we know for FSU to go sit over here. And I'm not talking down on HBCUs because I love HBCUs. My whole family went to HBCU. But that's just show you the difference that Dion and his coaches were probably giving Hunter and giving him a chance that FSU probably wasn't giving. It really just comes down to that relationship building. Now I'm finna drop it, come back.
All right. So, like for you, Cole, how important is it? Like what E was just talking about, positional coaches. Is there like a tier? Okay, so you have your 5-star, your 4-star, then you have your 1 through 3 stars. Or I guess that's how that process works. Like, is there does the head coach and the offensive coordinators, or maybe even the president, do they go straight to the 5 stars? Like how, or does it kind of vary by school?
I mean, that's a good question. I think it all varies by the school. I mean, you would think that probably the scouts will go at some point, and then maybe whatever skill position they play, that coach will be one of the first people to reach out, and then later it's probably a hierarchy with the coach and assistant following up, later in the process, or they may go all at the same time. But every organization is different. I really don't know what Florida State does in their recruiting process. DMiddy might know, but I mean, if it was me, I would probably want to see my position coach first, because that's the guy I'm gonna be working with night in and night out, and see how he feel about me. And then after that, then a conversation with the head coach or the assistant coach, because at the end of the day, you want to have the support of the head coach. But if you're a good coach, you're gonna trust your scouts and your position line coaches. So I want to make sure that position line coach has a vision for me actually to play, and he's going to go to bat for me.
That makes sense. Henry, Harbaugh, I think is a different. Like he's on that tier of coaches, even though you don't have no national championships recently, but Harbaugh is still that guy that can go out. I'm sorry, you muted, so I ain't hear your reply.
he ain't never got one. He ever for him.
No, I was talking about Michigan and itself.
Michigan itself.
Michigan itself. But still, Harbaugh is still a recognized coach, right? Harbaugh walking your door. If you know Harbaugh is coming, your uncles and your nephew, all of them gonna be at the house to receive Harbaugh. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But how important is the NIL now, these deals now, when it comes to recruiting?
I think NIL is very important. We're getting
do they come in straight with the check, or do they
well, I would tell you this, and I can speak a little bit to Harbaugh, and I would say this. And to your other question, I think when you talk about who you go after, it really depends on where you are, what state you are as a program, where you guys have success at. Like one thing about Harbaugh is, he'll Saban will be recruiting 30 guys, right? 5 stars, whatever. Harbaugh maybe he'll pick out 5 or 6 of those guys and go after them, because he knows that realistically he may not have a shot at all those guys. Or all those guys may not be a cultural fit for the program. I think that's one key that you have to look at when you get out here. Those guys can have all type of stars by their name, but if they don't fit your program, it's not going to work. When Brady Hoke came over and took over the program, we were in a recruiting rut, so he went after a lot of these 5-star guys and brought in a couple of guys in here, but they never worked out. They never even saw the field. Academics or whatever the case may be, they couldn't hack it here. It's a little different thing here. Now, to talk about a team like Michigan State and go back to D'Antonio's tenure, he built his whole program off of 3, 4, 2-star recruits. He started off recruiting mostly regionally, got them kind of build up a little bit off these 2 or 3-star guys, coached those guys up. Those guys ended up going to the league and having some success. So now folks are looking like, oh, he don't need a 4-star recruit to make me a guy. So now some of the other guys I'm a 4-star recruit. I like Michigan State. I'm going to go. So, he kind of built it up and they became more of a national recruiting base. So it can be a couple of different ways to do it. But NIL is definitely making a big impact on here. If you just everybody out here is trying to be an influencer or whatever. So if you add some money and some athletic ability to it, that's going to change the whole game. So folks ain't just coming in talking about when I'm going to play. They're like, listen, how much you going to pay? You know what I'm saying? I don't give a damn when I play. How much you gonna pay? Because I'll sit and take a check. It don't matter.
All right, man. Let's talk about Florida State. What's so different about this year's Florida State? DMiddy.
To me, the difference is the quarterback. The coach actually has a hold on the locker room and that team. And with just like, C. Henry was saying, with the NIL and the transfer portal, they got some guys that come in across the board on the offense and defense. And the dynamic of that has changed. It's almost like free agency in college sports. But once again, going to the head coach, he actually has a hold on that locker room. His coaches are, just like Cole was saying with recruiting, his coaches are backing him. His coaches are, hey, this is coach's plan and this is what we're going with. And then the quarterback, Jordan Travis, has been there. I believe he's a fifth-year senior, and he's controlling the tempo of the game. He has a control of the huddle, and the team from those facets, it looks totally different from even last year. Jordan Travis had his troubles, but this year he looks a little bit more polished.
And that's the thing that I kind of worry about when team, in Florida State's position to, trying to get back into that power, that true, I am a powerhouse school. When you have someone like Jordan Travis, he came down the stretch, played real well at the end of the year. Last year, he's playing really well now. But like you say, he's a fifth-year senior. Like, is the guy, what's his name? What's the second quarterback?
I think it's Rodemaker. I was calling him Rodemaker for the longest.
Oh, so like when you have like moving forward, Cole, do you think that the success of you all are building and hopefully continue to have, the quarterback is leaving, so is the next guy, can he continue this momentum to bring Florida State back?
You saying the next guy? Like,
yeah, the dude, what's his name?
Rodemaker.
Yeah.
I think he has the tools to be the guy, but the way that Florida State are playing right now, I think it was last week before they had their game, they signed a 5-star recruit in the middle of the season, and then the very next day they signed another 5-star from a California middle linebacker. If they win this week, as some of us are projecting to win, long as they do what they have to do to win this game, I wouldn't be surprised before the end of the season a 5-star recruit or a 4-star recruit come out of nowhere and commits to Florida State.
A quarterback.
Yep. Or that's probably committed to somewhere else. I think they did a really good job of the transfer portal. It's too early to see now. I don't know, when the time frame of them going into the transfer portal, but knowing what they're doing and seeing how they're changing the culture there, I would not be surprised if it was another guy that's really good at another school. He could be starting. Said, you know what? I'm gonna go to FSU. You know what? Jordan's gone. It's not much. It's not gonna be much competition over there. I'm gonna just transfer to. I'm just get in the portal. I'm gonna go to FSU because I like how that coaching staff handled that last kid. So I wouldn't be surprised if one of the two happened on the ladder. Either a 5-star recruit signs or someone jumps in the portal and be like, you know what? I'm about to go there. We seen it last year with Oregon. They got their guy. LSU got a guy that wasn't there before. And I believe the Hooker, it was another one from Tennessee, did it too. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. So
I mean, to piggyback on that real quick, I feel like
what was that, Mayo? Was that a hamster?
He haymaker, didn't he?
What was that? A hamster?
My son knocked on the door. It's his guinea pig.
Oh, guinea pig. Go ahead, Mitty.
No, just real quick though. I like Rodemaker because when he came into that Louisville game when Jordan got knocked out, his arm, to me, when Cole said he has the tools, his arm looks phenomenal to be able to throw down the field and even make those out breaking route passes. Man, I think if another guy comes in, he's not going to back down. And us most of us being Commander fans, and we know what Heineke did when he came in. He didn't want to give up the job.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he'll have that kind of mentality when it comes to being a starting quarterback at a predominant school like Florida State. But I wouldn't be opposed to a 5-star or even somebody transferring from another school that sees Florida State as an opportunity to win and then get themselves a higher draft stock.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about this week. Let's get into it. Mayo, what you think gonna happen this week? What's your expectations? Florida State, Wake Forest.
Like I said, I'm not a fan of either, but let me say this. I'm a fan of the ACC being back. Literally got 5 teams in the top 25. I mean, when can we say that's been probably decades since they had 5 teams in the top 25. So I'm just looking for a good game. I'm gonna lean on Florida State just because it's DMiddy. Nah, I'm just joking. But yeah, I'm gonna lean on Florida State, man. I mean, I like this. I want to see these Florida schools back. And to me, Florida State, was Miami for a while. And like I said, Florida, with Tebow and Urban Myers and all that, when they finally, at the very end of their run. I like to see Florida State. I just want to see it back in Florida. I mean, I'm down here in Georgia, so I'm a hop, skip, from down there. I've been through those areas plenty of time. I've been on campus several times. So I like to see Florida State pull this thing out and start, building back and being back as we've been talking about.
Go ahead, Henry. You had a question?
So this week, man, I'm definitely I think that, and I haven't seen a lot of Florida State, so I must say that first and foremost. But from what I saw from last week, man, Sam Hartman might be the best player on the field. I think it's going to come down to basically what Florida State has in the trenches, man. Do they have more brawn than these brainiacs of Wake Forest on the front line, man? So I think that's going to be important. But I did see a lot of skill talent from Wake Forest. So I think, the athleticism, can Florida State, show that they have more skill and athleticism than Wake Forest. And I look forward to this game. Kind of to piggyback off Mayo's point, I won't say I'm a fan of the ACC, but I'm rooting for the ACC because I don't want to see this expansion just become 2 mega conferences in Big Ten and mostly SEC. So my theory has been, and I think who can swing the pendulum is Notre Dame, because I don't think Notre Dame is really trying to come to the Big Ten because they don't want to become the next Nebraska or Penn State. Those guys thought they was going to come to the Big Ten and run things forever, and they become afterthoughts. And I know that Notre Dame, through the basketball, already has some type of partnership with the ACC. I believe basketball, they're playing mostly ACC. I think an ACC slate. And I think in football, they're playing like 5 or 6 teams from that conference right now, even though they are independent. So with you guys, how good does the ACC have to be to attract a Notre Dame full time? I think they're going to have to make a choice in probably the next 3 to 5 years.
Hey, can I jump in real quick? 2 years ago when Notre Dame, during COVID, a lot of their games, they were affiliated with the ACC, so they played a lot of games against the ACC during that COVID year. So now and then like you said, the basketball thing too, they schedule play a lot of ACC teams as well. So right now, I think they already been auditioning, and now ACC is coming up. It might be even part of that because Notre Dame has been on these campuses playing against them, and everybody's like, "Whoa, they playing Notre Dame this year," So they already auditioned, man. It looks pretty good, man. For in that standpoint of them probably getting the ACC, but they better hurry up because it might be too late if they don't hurry and get up in it, But
for real though,
I think that's a good deal. What's that mean?
Nah, for real, no. That everything y'all saying makes perfect sense. And when you got a conference like the ACC, who's in the Bible Belt of the country, you want that part of the world to be prevalent in sports. And I feel like with Florida State and Wake Forest, no matter who wins this game, if they show out a good game in prime time, it's going to build up some luster for the ACC to bring in a Notre Dame or be a part of that power conference collision that we just so happen to see coming down the line. But when it comes to this game, I know you were starting off saying, see, Henry, Wake Forest does have some prolific talent on that offense and defense, and their trenches is not too bad. But I will say this about Florida State offensive line: they got some hogs.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Akins has that offensive line really sturdy, if I could say that, when it comes to the run game and the pass game. And we have a stable of running back. So even if one goes down, knock on wood they don't, you still have Benson, you still have a Tuafili, you still have, Michael Pittman, the son of Michael Pittman, former NFL player, who can play running back and receiver, and he plays punt return. So I'm looking at this game as it'll be a dogfight, and it's going to be who has the more fight in the heart. So I'm going with my boys nonetheless.
What about you, Cole? As far as the conference, with Notre Dame.
I think it'll definitely help. I mean, it's going to come down to the TV money. Having them in there, it'll increase the TV money. They can probably redo the deal. That's what it's going to attract, more recruits to come. But I think, at the end of the day, it's going to come to in the collective of how involved the ACC want to be with this new program of getting these kids the money. How much they're going to be willing to back that to move forward. I think that's what's going to come down to it. And whichever conference decides to, set up shop in their regions to support that is the ones that's going to dominate over the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
I know the Big Ten is salivating. They want some of that Florida action. We ain't got no action over there. And also Charlotte's a very fast emerging market, man. And Clemson or Duke, that Raleigh Durham area,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got some good basketball teams. Now the Big Ten, we know for some good basketball too. So we'll be looking to kind of, get into them areas. And I know the SEC is salivating too, because you're right in their backyard.
Yep. And I think it's kind of good when you got these ACC teams ranked, if the pleasure they can play some good football. I mean, you got Wake Forest this week, got NC State next week. So if you can play some good football, and keep it consistent, this money, these TV deals, this NIL, like they try and get these conference set up, man, and they get these conference set up. But I don't, man. I don't, just know a little bit about college football. I don't want two power conferences, right?
What's going to be key, I think, for the ACC is, and what's key for all these conferences, and the SEC has probably done the best job at it. But we get into the conference play, and these conference teams, they beat up on each other. What's going to really determine things is the non-conference schedule. If you play competitive games against other conferences, and how you show up in those bowls, and how you show up during the playoff. Because if you're not showing up in the playoff consistently, or in playoff contention consistently, I think it kind of lowers the luster, if you will, or puts a little bit of a great stain on your conference a little bit. So again, I'm rooting for Pitt. I got a cousin at Pitt. I'm rooting for Pitt. I'm rooting for Miami. I'm rooting for Clemson. I'm rooting for the ACC to definitely be a powerhouse again, because they play a good brand of football over there, and basketball.
Yeah, they used to be dominant for a while, man, back in the 80s and 90s, man, and yeah, they took a major hit, and then Clemson sort of brought them back in the mix. North Carolina been kind of touch and go, especially with Mac Brown. So that's a team too to be looking forward to, seeing in the mix too, is the Tar Heels, getting back in the football ways, with Mac Brown. He's definitely he got him, he had him in the right way, especially with Sam Howell the last few years, and then they kind of dipped a little bit, but ACC, man, we talk about conferences. That's one that's returning.
And then when you talk about recruiting, that was North Carolina issue, right? They had a team when Diami and them was there, they was making some noise, and they didn't have nothing behind that. Like, they ain't had good recruits behind that. A couple of their stars went down, and they had nobody to step in and fill those roles. So that just goes to show you, we talk about NFL and free agency, building your depth, getting in good depth players, and recruiting is just like that. It's just as important. But yeah, man. So Florida State, Wake Forest, Florida State. This is a big game this weekend. If you get that win, there's another big game. You get that win, and then you got Clemson. Oh my. You going to Clemson undefeated? Woo! College game day may be there that day.
They will.
Yeah, college day.
So,
they will be there.
I'm about an hour and 20 minutes from up there, so
that's gonna be crazy, man.
I might be somewhere in the vicinity.
We play NC State before Clemson.
I thought NC State was next.
Wait, NC State, then Clemson.
Yeah, that's what I said. NC State, then Clemson.
Y'all gonna find out a lot in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, that's why I said NC State, then Clemson.
That Clemson
and that's what I'm
game.
saying. If y'all can beat Wake, you can beat NC State. Yeah, college game, they're gonna be at that Clemson game. All right, man.
They might be at the NC. They might be at the NC State game because NC State ranked 10th in the nation.
Maybe.
So if they beat Wake, that's ranked 20th, or 19th, I believe, currently right now because FSU is 23. If they beat Wake, I wouldn't be surprised if they will be in Raleigh for that game versus NC State. Long as NC State win this week because they're already ranked 10th.
And that's a mile and a half away from the house. I'll be there.
Yeah.
All right, so we gotta get into some college football. We're gonna go straight into the Ravens and the Bills. Cole, if you wanna stay by to talk about that, Middy, you can stay if you want to. Also, a couple games we're gonna get into. As we round it up, let's pay some bills.
The calendar says that summer is ending soon, but we're still outside. So when it's time to hop in your ride, make sure you book the best mobile detailing service in the DMV, Miles Detailing. Call 240-273-4018 or contact on Instagram at Miles Detailing to book your service today. Mention Red Zone in the Lab podcast for 10% off detail services only. Ride in style with Miles Detailing, that is.
Welcome back to Red Zone in the Lab with Deuce.
Yeah, man, we back. Bills, Ravens. What are we talking about when we think about the Bills and Ravens? Lamar Jackson, to me, he's leading the MVP race. To me, he's playing some heck of a ball. He's looking good, running, throwing, managing the game. The Ravens defense is a little disappointed to me coming into this year. I think they should be much better. Aside from Peters, I mean, Peters is playing some good ball, man. He's playing some real good ball. But Cole, what are you looking forward to as far as this Bills game?
It's going to be an exciting one. JK is going to be back for his second game, so we'll see what he's going to do. I'm really looking to see what Justin Hill is going to do with the opportunities because he looked very explosive when he has the opportunity to really run the ball. So, that's another weapon that most people don't know that we have, or we've been waiting for him to do something, but he just hasn't been that guy. So he showed some serious flashes during preseason, showed some more flashes last week when he was given his opportunity. And to continue to watch the emergence of Bateman, be a number one receiver if you didn't watch him at Minnesota to do with the dog. Just to continue to see what he's going to do. See if Isaiah Likely is going to do anything this week and finally have his breakout game. And I've always been high on Devin Duvernay, so he's been proving me right so far. I think he's going to have another big game this week versus that banged up Bills secondary. Micah Hyde's out. White is not going to be playing. Their nose tackle is not going to be playing. It's going to be a rainy game. So it's a game set up for the Ravens because they like dogfights. So we're going to see what's going to happen.
And the other cornerback went out last week.
Yeah, the other guy went out too. So we're going to see. At first, I was very disappointed with the defense, but then when I looked back and I started looking at the film, I'm happy with what they've been doing so far. They've been playing two rookies, Armour Davis and Pepe. Just threw them into the fire. They've been playing very well. They played very well the first week, but you can tell some things they had to change some things once Kyle Fuller went down. So, but besides that, even though it looks bad on paper on the offensive passing yards, Kyle Hamilton only gave up 54 yards so far in the air. So he's been playing lights out besides that. And then Juice Man's been playing lights out. And he only had one play that he gave up, some yards. Besides that, they're not giving up anything. So each week they're getting better and better. JPP played this week, so that'll be interesting to see what he could add some pass rush. So I'm also looking forward to Travis Jones this weekend, the rookie. So Michael Pierce went out for the season. He has a slightly teared pec. He had the decision either to play through it, he could have, or just to do the surgery to repair it. He decided to do the surgery. So he's out for the year. So that just gives more reps to Jones. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do. I think they're going to be dominant. I think this is the week that stuff starts to click for them and shock the world on what the defense should have been or been showing. I think they're getting into their groove.
Henry, the Bills gonna have to do something, right? They just can't keep throwing 58 passes every game. They have to figure it out. They cannot sustain like that. Josh Allen had a perfect window for that last pass. He was pressured a little bit, but beginning of the game, he's making that throw. You call it on fatigue, whatever you want to do, but they just can't sustain it. They're gonna have to figure out some type of run game. You agree?
Yeah, that's been my question the whole time, man. Is how they're going to, how can they, establish the run game and sustain it, especially come December and January when the weather is bad and low key. I don't know exactly where this game is at, but I've already heard that there's going to be some inclement weather, like Kold Krush said. It's going to be
in Baltimore.
It's okay. So they
usually, and the crazy thing is that when they play in Buffalo, it's always inclement weather. But now they get them in down here because the end is rolling in. It's going to be bad weather.
I'm hearing 20 mile an hour winds and rain, so that's going to make it a little tougher to throw. And we're going to find out about them if they can get something going on the ground with Singletary or Zach Moss. But Kold Krush was up. I think this is going to be a big game for Lamar. I think, he wants to be on this stage. And while he's on this stage, he wants to show everybody that he's just as good as whoever the world wants to say is the preeminent NFL player right now. I want to see him, perform at a high level. I will say this about Baltimore. Their defense is definitely a little disappointing. But ever since, man, Suggs has left, man, they had my boy over there, Matt Judon. Shout out to Grand Valley State, baby. Very proud alumnus of Grand Valley State, baby. But, it seems like they've been searching for a pass rusher ever since he's been gone, man. And I don't know who's kind of, in line right now, but that's going to be key. Can they get pressure on Allen and basically, get him out of his comfort zone, get him to the ground, create some negative plays, and maybe create some turnovers?
How you feel, Mayo?
Hey, it's early in the season, man, and you got a tough matchup like this. To me, the styles, a little bit contrasting because Baltimore can run. They more run dominant, but they actually been putting the ball in the air, so they've been actually doing what I actually was expecting to see them do. Lamar putting that ball in the air. He's hitting wide receivers, tight ends, everything. So they still having them, decent, be able to run decently. Buffalo, they had a tough outing last week, in that Miami game, and I think they was self-inflicted, fell short on a lot of stuff in that game.
They was fighting. That was a fight.
It was just an unexpected fight. I kind of feel like they literally overlooked Miami. That's what it seemed like to me. Like they looked past them. So let's see. They got I know they probably the favorite going into this thing as far as beginning of the season when Buffalo was on high a lot of people's lists. I still think they are. I think they may be reading the press clippings a little bit.
What's the line, Henry?
You know what? I believe. Hold on a second. Let me look it up, bro.
Go ahead, Mayo.
I'm usually up on that. You caught me slipping.
I know that's why I cut to you.
Caught me slipping.
I think I'm gonna say Baltimore. I just think, but it's gonna be a real hard-fought game. I think Baltimore just their physicality might be a little bit of a difference for them in this game. So I'm thinking Baltimore's in. I mean, I'm not gonna really even swinging that for a home field advantage right now because it's still early. I know it's raining, but Buffalo got some of the most worst weather than anybody, to play in. So I don't think weather's ever an issue for them, no matter where they go. But I'm gonna give Baltimore the edge, man, at home. And it's a big game for them. It's a huge game for them, and just to prove everybody that we among the top 2-3 teams in this league. So be Buffalo, that'll give them a big notch on their back, man.
So let me ask you, E. Is Mark Andrews the best tight end in the league?
I mean, I know Kyle Pitts got something to say about that once he gets a catch.
That's why I asked you that.
You ain't got nothing to say.
Whenever he
ain't
gets
got nothing to say. He needs to score some touchdowns before he say any damn thing.
Look, he got something to say when he gets the ball.
When he get the ball.
When he gets the ball. I mean,
I think that's part of the game, man.
I'll be honest with you. At this point in time, I think half the league or all the league is upset about that. But I will say that. I will say that probably Travis Kelce got something to say with that. I just feel like the way the Ravens use him is kind of put him in a style, and it kind of reminds me of when Matt Ryan had Tony Gonzalez and stuff like that, and even when the Saints had Jimmy Graham. So I mean, at this point in time, just as far as probably catch wise and how the Ravens use him, he's being featured more than a lot of players. And I'm not sleeping on no Travis Kelce. Shout out to the Chiefs Kingdom. So I don't need them trying to sit over here and throw some arrows. We in this together, honey. We chopping on. But it's just with the just with everything that's going on right now. I just feel like right now he is going to be the top because of the features that he get. And I mean that's. Again, you don't see a tight end like I said, Kelce, Kittle, even Ebron could have been something too. But even with Kyle Pitts, you don't see those type of tight ends that can play a wide receiver, that can actually be a wide receiver. So I will say right now he is, but until Kyle Pitts gets the ball, he got something to say.
But don't you think like this game, and we know it's gonna be an inclement weather type game, but this game it plays right into the hands of the Ravens.
No, it does. Again, I don't think the Bills are going to get what they did down there in Miami out of their head, unfortunately, because again, like I said last time, that was some bad ass clock management. And I don't think they're going to get that out of their head. So when it comes down to that, I feel like that's where they're going to make their mistakes, and it's going to play right into the Ravens' favor. So I mean, and then too, with all the guys that they're missing on that defense, I don't think they're going to be able to hold up with that. So I will have to give it to the Ravens. And I mean, and the Bills are going to have to do something. Again, as we said at the beginning of the season, the Chargers got something to say. The Bills are trying to get back. The Bengals are saying something. So we said, and all eyes was on this AFC. It's still on the AFC right now. So they got to come with it, because right now it's looking a little sketch.
You got the line, Henry.
Yeah, it's the Bills are favored by 3.
Ooh,
that's
in Baltimore. Yeah.
Because it's man I wonder. I know like part of the formula is weather, right? It has to be.
Yeah.
No,
but
the line can change and probably will change. It's kind of hard to kind of project what's going to happen on Sunday with this, with the storm as well. It may take a direction, go off another direction. So you kind of don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was supposed to get hit pretty hard here, and we didn't even get no rain at all. So I mean, fortunate. So it did its wreck through Florida, and now it's going up the coast of Carolina. And we didn't catch rain or anything. So. But so there's no telling how that's gonna flow. But I think they favored in Baltimore, so that's saying a little bit. They still favoring Buffalo, but I just like I said, I think Baltimore is definitely gonna handle.
Cole, what do you have? What do you all need to do to win this game?
I think is
it's
he on
not
mute?
on, Cole. There you go.
They need to put them in down and distance on second and third down. But what I would like to see them do, where they normally don't do, they need to let Marlowe travel with Diggs or switch it up with Peters when it's long and distance and make the other guys beat them. I have all faith in the rookies versus Gabriel Davis, Davis and the rest of the guys that they have. They just need to just basically take Diggs completely out of the play by either forcing them to go throw the ball, one-on-one with Peterson with help over the top, or one-on-one with Marlowe and see who wins that battle. And if they do that on second and long and third and long, they'll win the game.
Now, when you say one-on-one, do you mean one-on-one, or do you mean with some help? What you over the top? What you mean one-on-one?
I mean, I think it's a combination of everything with some cloud coverages, one-on-one with no help, one-on-one with a safety over the top. I mean, I take Juice Man and Marlowe versus him any day of the week. Because I believe that he is a very good guy, but I think if it came down to a 50-50, Juice Man would probably come out with the ball more times than Diggs. So especially with the Ravens defense up front. I mean, it ain't like they just out there pitching and catching and ain't nobody got time to get to the quarterback. So I like Kyle Hamilton's range.
To me, it looked like a lot of pitch and catch.
When?
I'm just saying, the whole season, Diggs having a pretty good season. Even when he cramped up, he had about 8 and 80 for 80. He was balling.
Yeah, he was. But it's different when you got Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamilton back there as your safeties. So I want to see it. I want to see it. I'm not saying he's not capable.
They were out there when Tua was doing his thing, right?
No, Marlowe wasn't playing. Marlowe got pulled out that game, and he didn't play the whole game. He got pulled out. It was both the rookies on Waddle and Hill the whole game.
All right. Do you have projections, Cole? Score projections?
Yeah, I got the Ravens 38-20.
Hold on, man. You went the over, man. It gotta be the under on this one, man. 51.5 with raining and winds. You ain't going to under?
No. The Ravens are averaging 31 points per game.
I gotta readjust my little sheet, man. My bets, man. I need this money this week, man.
All right, so let's who you got, Henry? Ravens.
I'm going 27-23, hitting that wonderful under, and I'm going for the Baltimore Ravens.
What's your score, Mayo?
24-17 Baltimore.
What's your score, E?
Ooh. I'm going to go 27-21 Baltimore.
We'll take that.
Yeah. I got 27-20, and I think it might. But again, it depends. For me, it depends on the weather. It really depends on the weather, because if it's bad weather, like wind and all that, you have to give it to the Ravens, man. Ravens. I think that plays right into what they do on a week-to-week basis, as far as the personnel that they run, and then Lamar, man. I think he's going to have a big game, man. All right, so let's go through Philly Jags. Let's give our predictions and how whatever team you choose can win the game.
Hold on, Deuce. Darren, baby, my mama called me. That's why my
yeah.
was back. She had called me earlier, and see, when I don't answer the first time, she called back again trying to cuss me out, and that's why I didn't answer her call, or was I trying to ignore her? So it's not you, honey. It's that my mammy called. I got to answer the mama.
Oh man. Philly Jags, Mayo, who you got? And
Philly.
Mayo, what you got?
Philly.
I said Philly. Mayo. I'm into Henry. What you got?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going Philly in this one too, man. But I think it's gonna be a little tighter, man, than what folks expect. It's a 6.5 point spread right now, man. I'm gonna go 24-19, man. I think Jacksonville may cover in this game, man. And Philly, they riding high, and I think they're getting better every week. But this Jacksonville team is playing with a chip on their shoulder, man. I think if they can run the ball, man. Mm-hmm. If they can run the ball on Philly, man, they can make it a tight game.
What you got, E?
Ooh, you know what? I'm gonna be different. I feel like it's going to be a very close game. I want to say 28-24, and I got the Jags. I think they're riding high off that last win against the Chargers, man. And I think that, if they, to be honest with you, if they can kind of, even though Justin was hurt, but if they can kind of, do their little thug thizzle against some Chargers, and the Chargers supposed to be coming out, I don't know. Jalen Hurts might want to watch out. That defense with the Jags,
They are faster.
Yes,
they are faster.
The number
Jags
one
are
picks
faster.
are coming in handy for the Jags. Let's just say that.
All right. What we got next? Brady. Let me see. Brady versus Mahomes.
Yeah.
Will this be the last matchup? And what do you all got?
It's a rematch too.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, real quick, where's that game at? Because I didn't even catch
Tampa.
Tampa.
They went ahead and
that's right, because they left and went to Miami. I mean, where did they go? And then they
Miami.
And then they came back to Tampa. I think today. Oh wow. I'm taking KC, man. Just to bouncing around with Tampa. They still trying to pull back. They trying to figure out their wide receivers right now because they got a lot of injuries there. I think Mike Evans is back. That was a suspension. Godwin has been practicing. Chris Godwin. So, I mean, they should get everybody back in the mix to help them stay competitive. But I'm leaning with KC. I think they took a tough loss last week that they know they shouldn't have lost to Indianapolis, and I think they're gonna come and bounce back against Tom, and which is much respect between them two. So Tom and damn, I can't get the name in my head, but KC, Patrick Mahomes, but yeah, much respect between them, but I think it's KC, man. I'm gonna take them. Yeah.
So I took KC in this one, man, but I have a lot of trepidations. I feel like if Tom is able to get Chris Godwin and Mike Evans back, it can be extremely, extremely competitive.
Cole
I think
Beasley, second week for Cole Beasley.
Oh yeah. I don't like talking about Cole Beasley, man. I got you. Man, I don't like messing with that guy, man. But anyhow, man, I
got you.
But anyhow, I really feel like the defense for Tampa Bay, it's been playing pretty good. I'm not afraid of any cornerback on the Kansas City roster. So I feel like if he gets his weapons back, it can be a very, very interesting game. I'm going to go with KC. But if Godwin is healthy, man, I may switch it up, man, and go with the GOAT, man.
I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay because I'm gonna go with Kansas City. I just think Tampa Bay is still working through some stuff. I just can't pinpoint what it is because they have the GOAT, and when you have the GOAT, there's no stuff to work through. Like he's the GOAT, so he can overlook all that stuff. But it's just something about that offense. It's something wrong. I just can't pinpoint what it is. But hopefully it was the injuries. Hopefully they are able to get back on track, man. But I think I think Mahomes is going to I think he's going to have a field day, man. He's going to throw people open all day long, man.
But I'm gonna tell you, I don't know. Again, if there's any form of inclement weather, I do not believe in the run game for Kansas City.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be though. Everything should be gone though.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be gone.
Yeah, they good. That storm going up the coast, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be in that good dry weather. Yep. All right, so we're gonna go to a quick commercial, and then we're gonna do some fantasy.
You didn't get E, man.
I did get E.
You didn't get the guy.
Not on this game. Not on this game.
Oh, my bad.
Look, I'm over here reading, y'all. My bad. Sorry. Look, your girl trying to get ready for law school. So I'm
go ahead, man.
Hey, I need a good defender.
Look, I got you. But no, after the game with Brady and Aaron Rodgers, I just don't think that they're there. Like I said, I tweeted about it, and y'all can go check that tweet out. I will make sure I retweet it for everybody. I said the NFC South is a bunch of mids, and I meant that. I meant that. I'm saying that with a straight face. So, yeah, I'll give it to the Chiefs. I mean, Mahomes is still, I think they're still trying to gather everything again. They lost Tyreek Hill. You know, that was Mahomes' safety blanket, regardless what people think or whatever the situation was. They say, you know, Kold is still hurt. So, you know, again, he's gonna find a way. Mahomes is gonna find a way. Big Andy, I trust Big Red. They're gonna find a way to get things clicking. I just would say that it's gonna be close. So again, and I think it's gonna be more so low scoring. So I'm gonna go 24-20, and I'm gonna get that one to the Chiefs because I think that Tampa Bay defense is going to get revved up a little bit. That's going to make a couple of stops. But again, you got to think Mahomes and them are very clever with getting people open and getting that ball downfield. So
and that game right now is basically a pick 'em. It's I think Kansas City has a favorite by, I'm sorry, Tampa Bay favored by one.
There we go. Close game.
Yeah, pick 'em. I mean, we at 6 o'clock. So once again, I failed. So I might as well ask this question. When you think about, and I know Tyreek Hill, you know, they say he wasn't a big loss, but Juju was not who they expected him to be. They thought he was going to be some type of number one. I don't know how they thought that, but
hold on. First of all, we talking about the same Juju that was over there doing TikTok.
Like the
Chiefs, he must know somebody else, Juju Washington or something.
Okay, because I think
I'm telling you, like,
kind of wonder what
the Chiefs just they believe, like the fans, they like y'all know Yuji, like Mark, they believe that he was gonna somehow be the old Juju when the old Juju had the old AB that made that Juju, right? So, but anyhow, my point is that it seems like Patrick Mahomes is working much harder. I think he's also proven that he's as great as he's always as he was proclaimed to be, but he's going to happen to throw these guys open. I just don't see him having like a receiver that he can just go to outside of Kelsey. Yeah, but those other receivers, he's throwing them open. What is you all's take on that before we go to the fantasy stardom pick'em?
So I kind of feel a different way than you do about Juju, because I think that, you know, Juju is who he is. I don't think that, I mean, I think they signed him thinking he can be definitely a usable piece. I don't know if they expected him to be a replacement for Tyreek or even a for sure wide receiver one. But I think that when you look at Andy Reid's history kind of in Philly, you know, they had Terrell Owens that one little stint, but otherwise than that, it was basically no-name players at the wide receiver spot. Maybe a little Deshaun Jackson, but we saw Freddie Mitchell make plays and a number of other guys that I can't even remember their names. So to me, it was kind of like, you know, Andy was just like, well, you know, we it don't matter who catching the ball. Tariq was a tremendously talented player, and he definitely made things easier for us, but we can still get it done without him. You know what I mean? So I think that, you know, they brought him in and he was just going to be a piece, you know, in the call. You know what I mean? So they got him and they got Sky Moore. I think Juju is definitely a upgrade over some of them guys, Sammy Watkins, Chris Pringle, Byron Pringle, whatever you want to call them, the Pringle chips, whatever you want to call them. He an upgrade over him. And, you know, I think that there's going to be a collective effort. I think Andy probably definitely felt that he had something special in Mahomes, and it don't really matter. I mean, unless you just a bump, you know what I'm saying? He can play with anybody, and he can elevate the folks he's playing with. So I think Andy just said, you know, we can win a whole different way, man. And if you want your $50 million, you're gonna have to let this guy walk.
Yeah, that's what I think is going to take for the doubters. There are Mahomes doubters, and him being able to have this type of receiver group and still be formidable. Like nobody can come into here and do what he can do with this receiver group. I don't think. Go ahead. What you think, Mayo?
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I'm not as high on Juju. I actually think they were better with Sammy Watkins, to be honest.
No, not Sammy.
I
tore my hand.
Sammy get lost in Juju because of the social media stuff, but forget that what he do on the football field, which is almost not much at all. Not much. He ain't done much since AB. So I mean, he ain't done nothing since AB. To be honest, he had an okay year when AB first left, and then he haven't been much at all. He's not that guy. Mahomes is that guy. He can make, like you said, he throws guys open because Valdez-Scantling, I mean, he ain't done nothing basically since he's been there, and they signed him for some big bucks. I mean, he's done zero. I mean, they
he
ain't
didn't do nothing with A-Rod, so I don't even know what they thought was about
right. So that I didn't understand that either. You know, Sky Moore, I think they need to just get him on the field and give him more options. You know, they keep saying each week that they're going to get him on the field and get more throws to him. He's definitely a deep ball threat. And I know Miko, you know, being injured, that kind of set a little bit back. So
I don't see it in him either. But
you don't really, I'm not like
don't be coming from my Miko Hardman.
But I think he can definitely contribute, you know, for them. And
he can contribute.
You know,
I mean, he was that extra
screens
speedster
and stuff like that, and in the rounds and things like that. That's his money for him.
Yeah, he was out. He was that extra speedster outside of Tyreek Hill. They can use him coming with a sweep. So
Exactly right. Them sweeps and things like that, the wide receiver screens, things like that.
Yeah.
That's his game. He can build
coming
on
out
that.
The slot.
Yep, out of the
but
slot.
It just seems like Pacheco is getting a lot of those plays now.
Right, but I'm not worried about Patrick. You know, with pretty much anybody that you can put with him, as long as they give him time to move around, he'll you know, he's so great at off script plays, man, and you know, on script plays. I mean, Patty Holmes, he's that guy, man. I mean, he's that guy. I don't think it's no real concern as far as that. I'm sure if it doesn't work out through the year, they'll definitely be one of their biggest moves next year is trying to find that guy for him if they have to. But I don't think they can. Andy can scheme that stuff up. Mm-hmm. That's something he does.
What do you think about Kold?
I don't know why my mute button takes so long, but I think Sky Moore is going to be the guy. He needs more reps, you know, moving forward, and then you know, then we'll kind of see. I think Juju can be more of a punch in the offense, but it's just a lot of moving parts that's going on, and you know, they're just trying to figure out what they're going to do. You know, so much people talking about they couldn't run the ball, and they've been running the ball very efficiently this year. So I think once the year goes on, you know, you will probably see more of an explosive offense from them. If we think back, we kind of said the same thing last year. I think they started off very slow, and we was like, you know, they're out of the race. They seemed like their offensive line could not get it together. They couldn't push the ball down the field, and then all of a sudden they got it together, and they started lighting everybody up on the scoreboard. So I do like the element that Juju can bring, but I think it's going to be some time between, you know, the offensive coordinator and Andy to try to figure out how they want to use him. But when it's all said and done, we're going to be talking about Sky Moore because I think he's the X factor there. They got to figure out how to get him involved in the offense.
Hey, real quick with Juju, is he in the slot?
I think they have been playing him a little bit in the slot.
Yeah, that's probably his best bet is having him in the slot.
Yeah. What you think, E?
I mean, again, like I stated earlier, the key to that over there for Kansas is gonna be Big Red. I'm not gonna lie to you. Andy did think that bringing Juju in, because we have seen Andy Reid turn some players into superstars. Okay, i.e., we're gonna use for a big example Mike Vick. But you know, I think that he was trying to get that same play out of there. But I don't think Kansas City has really anything to worry about. They have the stars in the making. It's just let Pat be Pat. Let him get out there. Let him, give him the plays. If he has to go off script, he goes off script, and he does damn good going out there. So I don't think the Chiefs really have anything to worry about. I think it's just really getting that chemistry back together. Again, they were so comfortable with a Tyreek Hill and doing that. Again, every quarterback has their safety blanket. And I don't know why, for some reason, that is majority of the time it's that tight end position. So yes, he's going to go to Kelsey because he trusts Kelsey. He has that chemistry. The other ones are gonna come. Miko not being there, he trusts Miko too. So again, we just have to wait and see until that chemistry. And then again, we're only in week 4? This is only 4 weeks into the season. Give it some time to get there. I don't think it's really time to press the panic button with the Chiefs, but again, run game looked good. That I think, even when they played the Colts, I don't know if it was decided by a penalty or not, or if it was just bad play from the Chiefs. But again, I don't think it's time to hit the panic button. I think we just got to let them do what they got to do and get that chemistry together. That's all that is. And might have to keep Juju in the slot a little bit until Miko come back, and then find a different way for Juju to get in and other ways to do it. So we'll see though. I have faith.
All right, man. We're gonna pay some bills and we'll come back with starting center from C. Henry, and then our last thought from E.
Do you sit back and say, man, these walls just need something? Feel like it's time to freshen up your place with something new? If your answer is yes, then it's time to call Rob of Lewis Paints Plus, the accent wall expert. Rob will even give you a free estimate on how he can transform those boring walls in your home. To book today, call 240-418-5241 or reach out on Instagram at Lewis Paints Plus. And for 10% off, tell him Red Zone sent you.
Yes, sir. And we're back. And you know what? This is time for some fantasy football advice. We got a little start sit section for you guys this week. And understand that if your home team loses, that doesn't mean your fantasy team got to lose. Let's start off with the quarterback. Some guys that I'm thinking very highly of this week. I'm going to go with Tom Brady. This is a little bit of an if-then situation. If he gets Mike Evans back, if he gets Chris Godwin back, I think this is going to put him in position to have a very, very good game against Kansas City, Sunday Night Football with Pat Mahomes on the big stage. You know, he's going to try to show up. Secondly, man, I'm going to go right here in Detroit. If you are in a pinch and you got to look for a streamer, I'm going to go Geno Smith. Yes, Geno Smith. I know it's not a real big household name, but he comes in here facing our Detroit Lions, who does not have a good defense. It's going to be a little bit of a shootout. Also, he has great weapons on the outside with TJ Lockett and also DK Metcalf. Last but not least, if you're going to look at, we're going to stay right in that game, and we're going to say Jared Goff, man. If you're in a tight spot, you need a starter. Jared Goff, he is going to be down Amon-Ra St. Brown. He is going to be down possibly DeAndre Swift. But again, I think this game is going to be a shootout. And there's going to be some opportunities for him to sling the ball around and score some touchdowns. At the running back spot, we're going to call this backup running back week. Yes, backup running back week. Due to a lot of injuries that happened last week, we're going to go with a couple of guys right here in the NFC North. Going to start off with Khalil Herbert going against the New York Giants this week. He's going to be the starter, taking the place of David Montgomery. If you've been watching the Chicago Bears at all this season, you know that they're a very run-heavy team. So he's coming off a week where he had 152 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 catches. So definitely start him up, fire him up against the New York Giants. Also, right here in Detroit, again, it's going to be a barn burner right here in this game against Seattle. Start Jamal Williams. Already was shown his prowess around the goal line. He was the goal line back, is going to get a lot of the work this week. Again, Swift is not playing. Amon-Ra is not playing. So he's going to be a factor in the run game, around the goal line, and in the passing game. We're going to pray. We're going to speak it to exist. We're going to speak it into existence for this week, and going to hope that Alvin Kamara can have a big game over in London. He's playing early against the Minnesota Vikings, 9:30 in the morning. Make sure you got him in your lineup. He's been kind of pedestrian so far, but again, he's playing against a Minnesota defense that is not the best in the world. Late breaking news: Jameis Winston will not be starting in this game. It's going to be Andy Dalton at the helm, so we expect a lot of heavy run game from New Orleans, heavy usage for Kamara, and heavy usage in the passing game and possibly check down game for Kamara. Wide receiver, man, we're going deep, man. I hate to say it, man, but CeeDee Lamb this week, man, I think is a good pickup this week against that Washington secondary. You guys know it's a little leaky back there, so you definitely want to get him in your lineup if possible. Also, man, Michael Pittman versus the Tennessee Titans, man. I think this is going to be a good spot for him. It's going to be a very, very interesting game, kind of a rivalry, if you will, from the NFC South, the AFC South, who also boasts a bunch of mid teams. I don't know. It might be a South thing, I don't know. But you definitely want to get him in your lineup. Now, unfortunately, we got a couple sits, man, and I'm going to start here, man, again, man. I'm going to start with Carson Wentz, man. I'm going to tell you, man, I don't think you need to, put him in your lineup against this Dallas defense, who's leading the league in sacks right now. I will say this, give you a little bit of hope. We know that McLaurin is going to get the Diggs treatment. Now, the Brown kid is going to probably be faced up with Dotson. If you're looking for a sleeper, Dotson may be a sleeper this week along with Curtis Samuel. At the running back spot, man, I think it's going to be a tough day for J.K. Dobbins. He's coming back off an injury. I don't know how much of a workload they're going to give him in that Buffalo game. So I will wait a week or two before I roll him out, and put him in my lineup. At the wide receiver spot, that's going to be a tough one, man. Let's take a look here because I didn't look at it hard. Whew. I'm a little bit afraid of Keenan Allen this week, nursing the injury, coming off 2 missed games. I don't know if he's going to play this week against Houston. It looks like a good matchup on paper, but you got Herbert hurt, and you also have him dealing with the hammy issue. So you definitely buyer beware on Keenan Allen this week. And that's the start sit section this week, sir. And man, folks.
Appreciate that. Let's just take this time before we get to the last thought. I want to take this time for Kold. Appreciate you for stopping through. Appreciate DMiddy. Appreciate you guys for stopping through today, man, to talk some FSU, to talk some Ravens. We appreciate everyone out there for listening, all of you that commented, all of you that watching. Any last thoughts from you, Mayo?
Nah, man, I'm still high, man, off the fact that football is back, man. I mean, we going in the 4th week, man. It's just like,
and it gets better and better.
It just get better and better, man.
Just keeps building.
Keep building, man. So I'm excited, man. College football is just awesome to see the ACC back in the mix, man. So it's some good times right now, man. Hey, I'm old school E. ACC was even before you probably was even born. So, SEC finally just started to total along. You got to thank the ball coach down there in Florida for that one.
Old ball coach.
Yeah. So, but I'm just, man, football is just awesome, man. This is the great time of year, man. And later this month, we got the NBA gonna be back pretty soon too. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is a dream.
We might can get a piston. We might get a piston wizard bet.
Oh. No. Well,
No.
LA baby. LA baby.
We both looking at the play-in. So I mean, why not?
Look, no.
LA baby.
Might not be looking at a play-in this year. I'm gonna give them that. The starting 5 looking pretty nice.
The Hawks.
We'll see. The Hawks.
They may slide into a 6 seed or something.
LA baby, we ready, man.
LA,
we gonna be
Lakers, Clippers, dysfunction.
Brody gonna take that back seat, and we just about to roll, man. We ready to get it now. Bron ain't having. You seen Bron conditioning?
Yeah, man. You know what I haven't seen Bron do? Play 5 positions at one time.
Let's see Bron's conditioning. He like small forward mode. He ready, baby.
Kold, any last comments from you, Kold? Appreciate you for stopping through, man.
Nah, bro. Just appreciate it. And this was not the expensive equipment today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man. I saw Kold show me some stuff he got, man. I ain't gonna put him on blast, man, but he need to get this podcast.
You already did. You said I was gonna expensive equipment, then the damn mic wasn't working. So it's like you already did. You might as well go ahead and finish the job now. You might as well finish the job now. Cause I wasn't even on it.
Yeah, man. That's just sad, man. Because Kold got some good stuff. I already told you, he got some good content, man, and he has the voice for this podcast type thing. And I be trying to push him to get into it. I told him to sacrifice. You got to sacrifice sleep. I ain't played my PS5 in like 9 months. Sometimes you just got to do it, man. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you for coming on, Kold. We about to get to our last thought with E.
Hey, y'all. How y'all doing? I hope everybody had a wonderful week. For some, it might be payday. Next week might be your payday. Whatever it is, don't go out there spending all your money because rent due tomorrow. Now, anyway, just to let y'all know, just to piggyback back off of what Mayo had said today, folks got to understand us watching football as fans is entertainment. It's exciting. And we have to still realize that those are actually still humans and people that are playing out there, unfortunately. To see somebody go and, be concussed again, and to kind of freeze up and kind of go into more of a stuck mode as a trauma response. I've worked in social work before and had to go through and work through in hospitals. So I have seen what traumatic brain injuries can do to people. I have worked with people that had TBI before. And we have to really take in consideration as fans. Yes, this is all entertainment. It's all fun. Just like Mayo said, it's just exciting to see it back. But we still have to realize the consequences that these players are putting themselves each and every day. All for our entertainment, all for our excitement, So again, please remember that just because we see things and just because you believe when somebody said that they're fine or different things like that, do understand that some of these people will have long-lasting effects on them for the rest of their lives. So please just take and be considerate that, yes, some people may be more concerned with players that we don't even know, because again, you don't know how quickly you're here one day and could be gone tomorrow. And we have seen it. We have seen players be paralyzed. We have seen players, wake up and be all right, but die the next day. It was a boxer that just passed away after a match. This is serious out here. Okay, injuries to the brain are very serious. So let's take that into consideration while we enjoy this weekend, but also send up prayers for Tua, just to make sure. He may say he's fine, but we don't know the long-lasting effects. So that is my last thought. And even though this is entertainment, still think that these are still regular human beings that still have to live their everyday lives.
Appreciate that, E. Just remember, all the players, we understand this. It is about your livelihood and your family. Just remember, money cannot get up to go get you a glass of water. This is Enters in the Lab live show. Deuce, we got Mayo, Slim wasn't able to make it today. We got Lady E, C. Henry, and our guests, DMiddy and Kold Krush. We appreciate y'all for coming on. This is, again, Enters in the Lab live show. One beat, one sound, one heart, one love.
Enters the Lab live show will be airing Monday, Friday, 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Head over to www.redzoneinthelab.com.